Oh, hi, you found us.
We're Steph and Jen. We're both sleep consultants, we're both mums, and we're here to help you and your little ones get some much needed sleep. So, just a wee disclaimer before we begin. Anything that we discuss on this podcast is not medical advice. The discussions we will have are intended to give some guidance to parents that want it. However, every child is different, and as a parent, you will be the one that knows what is best for your child. If our chats help you, then that's amazing. But if you don't feel it resonates with you or you're happy doing things your own way, then that's absolutely fine too. If things are working for you, don't feel you need to change anything.
Welcome back to Mama Needs Sleep. This week we are going to be having a wee chat about safe sleep, about co-sleeping, about contact naps. So Jen, do you want to take it away with the serious stuff?
Yes. So just to begin, we just want to kind of explain why we need safe sleep guidance. So a lot of people, I'm sure, will have heard of SIDS, which stands for Sudden Infant Death Syndrome, which is obviously a pretty terrifying thing to think about, and something that people, don't really want to talk about, or on the other hand, become very obsessive over and can be very anxiety inducing. So I just wanted to initially sort of explain a wee bit about what SIDS is, and some kind of statistics to give you a sort of an idea of the prevalence, and why the sleep safety guidance is existing. So in the UK, there's around 300 deaths per year unexpectedly of babies, which is obviously a hugely terrifying number. And of those, around 100 are due to accidents such as suffocation, overheating. And so right away, we know the causes of these deaths, and we know that these are preventable and how to prevent them. The other 200 deaths, there's no clear explanation, and they are classed as SIDS deaths. Now, obviously, hearing that a baby can die unexpectedly with no explanation is absolutely terrifying for any parent or anybody in general. But to put that into perspective, of these deaths, while they don't know the exact cause of the death, there is always multiple factors involved in these deaths, and we do know what these risk factors are, and that's why we can take steps to avoid this happening. Years ago, sort of 30 years ago or so, the number of babies dying from SIDS was massively increased to what it is now, and that's because there is awareness now and we have safe sleep guidance, and when that safe sleep guidance is followed, these deaths are massively reduced. You will obviously always have freak accidents and outlying statistics, but overall, studies have found that when they look into SIDS deaths, they are more often than not just one risk factor at play, but multiple. And when I say multiple, I'm talking sort of 4 or 5 combined risk factors. And I think that's quite important for parents to know, because I know myself when I had my first baby, and he was premature and male, and right away that's 2 of the risk factors. So I was petrified. Literally sitting up in the night watching, checking he was breathing. Now, I was following all the safe sleep guidance, but in my head it was just a baby can randomly die in their sleep for no explanation, and it tends to happen more often in males. Premature babies or low birth weight is one of the risk factors, and in the first 6 months of life is when it is more common. So that was all I really knew about it, and I just thought, well, if that can happen for any reason at any time. Actually, having looked into it in more detail, the studies that have been done say when these deaths have occurred, there are multiple risk factors, and it is usually a combination of kind of social economic factors as well. So there was a study done, it was the National Child Safeguarding Review of 2020, and it had looked at 40 cases of SIDS related deaths in England in 2018, and of those 40, all 40 families were already known to safeguarding and had a mixture of substance misuse, maybe poor living situation, living in temporary accommodation, domestic abuse in the family, there's also an element of maybe a lack of education or not engaging with services, not having, proper support and follow up after birth. So it wasn't just one single factor resulting in these deaths. And I think that's something that's really important to bear in mind. Obviously, that's not to downplay the risk in any way, and the safe guidance is there for good reason, and it's because we know it works. So absolutely, we want to follow that guidance, but it's also, I think, important to give people that wee bit of reassurance that, if you are following safe sleep guidance, the risk is very, very small. And it's all about that kind of having that balance of the awareness, educating yourself, but not terrifying yourself and being scared to go to sleep because you're so scared something's going to happen to your baby. So I think that kind of brings us on to what is the safe sleep guidance? Where can we find it? And Steph, do you want to tell us a bit about that?
So the safest place for your baby to sleep is in their own cot or Moses basket and in the same room as you for the first 6 months. Some top tips for safe sleep from the Lullaby Trust website is to lay your baby down on their back with their feet at the bottom of their bed or their cot. And this is because babies are more likely to wriggle up the way than wriggle down the way. So if they're already at the top with the blanket there, then they're all going to get muddled up. Keep the cot clear, no bumpers, no toys, no loose blankets. Sleeping bags are great, or if you are going to use a blanket, have it tucked in, so like into the sides of the cot so that it can't become loose. Use a firm, flat, waterproof mattress. Don't smoke around your baby. Aim to have the temperature of the room between 16 and 20 degrees. If you need to use a fan for any reason, ensure that it's not pointing directly at your baby. Having it on the setting that it kind of moves round side to side or rotates actually helps to distribute the air better, and to sleep in the same room as your baby for at least the first 6 months. The Lullaby Trust have an easy way to remember all of this: ABC. Always sleep your baby on their back in a clear cot or sleep space. For more information about safe sleep and SID preventions, you can check out the Lullaby Trust website or their social medias.
This episode is sponsored by the Moonrooms. The Moonrooms are based in Kirkhill House in Newton Mearns and are run by the magical, warm and caring Audrey and Lucy. They offer a range of beautiful, nurturing therapies, services and classes. These include pregnancy and postpartum yoga, mother and baby classes, massage, reiki, emmet techniques, wellness retreat days, amongst lots of other things. Myself and Steph are frequent visitors and can confirm it is the most magical and relaxing space. Please go and check them out at _Moonrooms on Instagram or over on their Facebook page.
So, Jen, should we have a wee chat about co-sleeping?
Yeah, so I think co-sleeping is always a big topic, and certainly in the past it was something that was always kind of advised against.
Yeah.
And it would have been advice from midwives and health visitors not to co-sleep and have your baby in their own separate sleep space.
Again, because they're thinking of risk factors.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a bit like when something is new and you know there's the risk, but you haven't had the training to avoid that risk.
Yeah.
So like driving a car, we know there's a risk of potentially crashing that car, but you take your driving lessons, you wear your seatbelt, you get your car insurance, and you can mitigate that risk.
In it. Yeah.
And it's exactly the same with co-sleeping. So previously it was a case of, we know there's a risk here, so the blanket statement is just to avoid doing it, and that completely takes away the risk. But now the more we learn about it and we learn about the benefits of co-sleeping, actually it makes far more sense to educate people to do it safely than to tell them just don't do it, because realistically we know that people are going to do it anyway, and it's just much not talk better about it. And then also not know how to do it safely and be too scared to ask because they feel that they're doing something wrong. There's been kind of recent studies done sort of in 2020 where they were looking to see if there was kind of adverse risk to co-sleeping, and actually the studies found that when done appropriately there wasn't any added risk to the baby, but there was a lot of benefits. And that actually prompted a change in the NICE guidelines from 2021. So the NICE guidelines are the National Institute for Healthcare and Excellence, and it's what like NHS follow. It's like best practice in healthcare, and the guidance is now that you shouldn't be given the advice not to co-sleep. You should very much be supported to co-sleep, even encouraged, but just encouraged in a way of how to do it safely. So that kind of leads us on to co-sleeping safely.
Yeah. So, co-sleeping, it's one of these things that like a lot of parents go, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And then your baby wakes up in the middle of the night and you go, oh, just come in beside me. Let's have a wee cuddle. So there are things to think about if you do end up co-sleeping, you're thinking about co-sleeping, or it's just kind of happened and you want to make sure that you're doing it as safely as possible. So again, from the Lullaby Trust, co-sleeping should be avoided if you or your partner have been drinking alcohol, or if you've taken any medication which can make you feel drowsy, or if you're a smoker as well. Just it's still there in your breath, so the baby can get it that way as well. It should also be avoided if your baby was born prematurely. This is before 37 weeks or under 5.5 pounds. If you are co-sleeping or planning on co-sleeping, only do it in a bed. If it's nap time and you're knackered, because who isn't when they're a parent, try not to do it on the couch. Do it on a bed. Even if you've got like one of these like kind of baby cots next to me that are attached to your bed, like your baby can be in there and you're napping beside them, like that's still considered as co-sleeping. We will share a link to the Lullaby Trust website, and that'll give you so much more information about all the kind of do's and don'ts to make it the best co-sleeping arrangement for you and your baby. So me personally, when I was pregnant with Jessica, I was very much like, no, like we're not going to co-sleep. Like she's going to have her own space. This was more of a kind of like, for me, I was like, I wanted my own sleep space. Like I would have had the whole bed to myself if I could have. But when one night, Jessica must have only been a couple of weeks old, and I'd been breastfeeding, and I was knackered getting up and getting her out of bed, out of her cot, and like sitting on the end of my bed to like feed her and then put her back in. I thought, I was going to bring you, like feed you in my bed, and then once you're asleep again, I know you're going to wake up again in like 40 minutes or in like an hour and a half and want fed again. So if you're already there, then like
so much
you could just do it yourself and I could continue to sleep. This was what was going on in my head. Doesn't always work out like that, but we did this for a couple of nights, and then like as Jessica kind of got that wee bit bigger, like she must have been about 6 weeks old, like she would not go back to sleep after a feed if she was in my bed. She was like, no, I want my own space. She obviously gets that from me.
Independent lady.
Yeah. So like but like even now, like she wouldn't like come in to my bed to cuddle and sleep. Like it's not her sleep space. Like even I took her away to like a hotel for the night just as a wee treat, me and her, after I'd had Emily, just so that she was getting that one-on-one time. And I'd got like a room with a big king size bed, and she's like, Mum, can we just pull the sofa out, make a sofa bed for me to sleep on? And I'm going, I thought this bed would be big enough for us both. But no, she needed, and she climbed into that sofa bed and went straight to sleep. And that was her till the morning. I was sitting there going, I need to sit watch something on my iPad in the dark now. I was expecting to like cuddle up and watch a movie, but no.
And that's it. And I think even like I would say like I'm definitely not a co-sleeper. And again, it's not because I wouldn't want to, it's just because I'm a really restless sleeper, and it probably, I don't feel like I could have done it safely. But when you're breastfeeding in those early days and you're breastfeeding kind of continuously through the night, it's so much easier just to be able to bring the baby into bed with you and be feeding on and off as required. Yeah. And I think that's the thing, like a good 50% of people do end up co-sleeping even for part of the night in those first few months. Yeah,
I mean, so like with Emily, it was a completely different story. Like with Emily, I thought, right, okay, we'll get one of those like next to me cots that like attached to your bed. And so she started out in there and then ended up in bed with us. Like, and it was fine because like we were doing it safely. Like we were both quite happy with it. It's now that she's almost 3, that after the house move, she's still trying to co-sleep with us. We room shared with Emily until she was 2, until we moved house, because we were in a 2-bed. We didn't want to disrupt Jessica's sleep or Emily's sleep, because they were both sleeping really well and it was all kind of working for us. And then when we moved house, we were like, right, okay, you both have your own rooms. They've decided that they want to share, so they're sharing. But like in the middle of the night, I think Emily's still getting used to the transition on the house move, but she, like, we wake up in the morning, she's in our bed, we don't even know that she's come in now. Like, she just sneaks in, she knows how to do it. She's like a wee ninja in the middle of the night, just climbing in. And then we wake up in the morning, we're like, oh, hi, you're here. If we'd realised that she was there, she probably would have at this age been taken back up to her bed. But I'm secretly loving all the snuggles.
Yeah,
like,
I love, not so much now, because thankfully both of mine are now sleeping to a more acceptable time, but they both went through a phase of waking up really early in the morning, and it was just that wee bit too early before morning, but you also knew you weren't getting back to sleep, so just having that wee like morning cuddle in the bed is really nice.
When you're just not ready to get up yet.
Yeah, you're just coming to, so like you're still awake and everybody's, you know where they are, you know they're safe. They're not really asleep either, but it's just, you're like, just before we kind of got and face the day, just that wee morning snuggle is.
Yeah, it kind of, I think it like actually helps start the day off like better. It's almost like it actually just like fills both of you up with so much like love and like all these like happy hormones that just like set your day off right. Like there were studies done recently that showed that like actually like having like these like, even if it's like these wee morning bits, or if it's like them falling asleep in your bed at night, or like just if they've had a hard day, just coming into your bed for cuddles. Like there were studies showing that actually that how much of a impact that makes on like your attachment and like with like your like parent child bond, that when these children got to like 17, 18, like when they'd had like a breakup, or they'd had a really stressful day at school, or they were like stressed that they hadn't done well in their exams, that they actually would come home and like climb into bed and like your bed and like be like, I just want a cuddle. And they just like, it's like their safe space.
Well,
like,
I mean, that like it goes back to like skin to skin as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like it does, it has such a positive impact, and it produces all these nice happy hormones in the mum and baby. And yeah, it's just that nurturing bond. Or you know yourself, even as an adult, like you say you have a bad day, like someone, you could be holding it together really well, and then somebody gives you a cuddle and you just like
go,
sort of, yeah, absolutely, the waterworks start, and yeah, it is, it's a really powerful thing.
Yeah, and it actually like with babies as well, when they can't like regulate their own body temperature and their heart rate and all of that sort of stuff, and see when they're on you, like if they're actually on you sleeping, or if they're beside you sleeping, actually that closeness with their parents help to regulate internal mechanisms such as like heart rate, breathing rate, and like as you said, it's very much like skin to skin in that first, like in those first early days. So I mean, I'm a big advocate for it now. I absolutely love it. And I think it's something like contact naps and these like wee mornings in bed, like they're just so special. And like one day they just kind of stop, and especially the contact naps, like I miss them. I wish Emily still naps. Like I just like, my favourite thing would be she would just climb up onto the couch and cuddle in on me, and I'm just like, yay. I've actually on my social media page I posted like a picture of like my first contact nap with Jessica and my last one with Emily, and I was just like, oh, like I don't get them anymore. So doing the job I do, I love it when a baby contact naps on me, even though they're not my baby. I'll take the contact naps. I'll take them. As you said, we're going to end each episode on a mum hack and a mum fail. So, yeah. Do you want to start off with your hack? Because I don't know if I'll get through my fail without laughing.
Okay, so my hack this week is baby wipes. So we've all been there. You go to grab a wipe and 5 come out all at once. And in an ideal scenario, you would just use 2 hands. You would hold the packet with one hand, you'd pull the wipes with the other. But how often is it you actually have a spare hand? Because you're usually also holding a child's leg, or you're holding a nappy, or you've only got the one hand free. So I don't remember where I saw this tip, but if you get a hair bobble and put it onto the pack of wipes right up to, so not covering the opening, but just right up to the edge, and then it just provides just enough pressure Then you can one-handed lift out the wipe.
That's
And just
amazing.
one comes out.
That is amazing.
So I can't guarantee it works every time, but it definitely makes a difference.
Yeah, I have 18 years worth of like trying to get nappies out, wipes out with one hand, and that could have saved me so much time and so
It's
many
when
wipes.
You stuff them back in, so you pull out too many,
and
you
you try and
stuff all
put
the
them
spare
back-
ones back in, and then you go to get it next time.
Yeah.
You just end up with a ball of wipes.
Yes,
So yes, that's my hack of the week.
that's. I'm gonna try that. Yeah. So mum fail on me this week. I mean, really, it's my own fault, but. Yeah. So I thought Emily was playing really nicely in the playroom. Like I could hear like wee giggles and wee laughs and everything. Stuck my head down. She was playing with like her dolls. And I thought, right, I have 2 last strips of wallpaper to put up in my living room. I'm going to just
know where
do
this
it.
is going already.
You know, my daughter will as well. So yeah, got everything out. Put my head back in again. Just check on her. Yep, she's fine. Pasted the paper, measured it all out, pasted the paper, climbed up to the top of the ladders to get it on, and then I hear a noise. I turn round, and there is Emily inside the bucket of paste. It was like one of those moments where it was like I needed to just like fly off the top of these ladders to like get her out before she...
No.
By the time I got down to the bottom of the ladders, however, she had already pasted a bit of wallpaper with her feet and stuck it to the floor. This is how quickly my child moves.
They do. They sense when you're not watching.
Yes.
Like they know the second that you're not giving them attention.
Yeah.
They seize that
They
moment.
know. They just know. So yeah, there was my trusting my child to what children are, or what children do, and like playing and then sneak up on you behind your back. I should have known better, but I was determined that I was getting these 2 bits of wallpaper. I needed a finished room. So yeah.
Is it finished now at least?
Yes. Well, like the walls are painted and papered. I just need to actually put pictures up and make it homely.
No child was harmed in the making.
No
so
child
it's
was
all good.
harmed in the making. I might have got a bruise coming down the ladders, but yeah, as I said, it was my own fault. Thanks for listening. If you would like us to cover anything or you have any questions, please get in touch through our Instagram at mama.needs.sleep. Our inbox is always open.